Welcome to my podcast, guys. If you are here to work on your relationship with your child, then you are for sure in the right space because you will always have to work on your relationship with yourself. And this is what I offer here on my podcast. So if you listen to my podcast and hear things that are not obviously related to your son, listen on, because whatever you improve in your relationship with yourself will automatically improve all of your relationships, including with your son. So welcome and enjoy. Hey guys, how's it going? Today's a big day for us. It's my oldest son's 10th birthday. So exciting. Can't believe it's been 10 years since he was born. And ever since then, I had 3 more boys. So we're celebrating today. I decorated the house, got cake, gonna have a hot dog party for all the boys. They just want hot dogs. You know, we always ask them, what do you want? And, you know, they can pick anything and they pick, of course, the most junkiest food, but that's okay. It makes them happy. So we're gonna celebrate, and today I want to talk to you guys about something that I've been doing to solve problems in my life, and I thought that I would offer it to you because it's a cool thing that works. Okay, so the premise for this is everything in our life that we do or don't do, we do because we want to feel a certain way. Okay, so we want to get married so we would feel a certain way, right? We think if I'm married, I would feel this way, right? I'd be happy. If I have kids, I would feel happy, fulfilled, right? We get a job because of how we think we will feel once we get the job, once we have the income, once, we buy something because of how we think we will feel once we have that thing, right? We're already can taste how we feel, we'll feel once we buy that thing. So we'd go ahead and buy it, right? And the same goes for not doing something, is because of how we think we will feel once we do that thing. And if we don't like that feeling, we will not do it, right? So we will avoid doing certain things to avoid feeling a certain way, right? Like I don't drink alcohol anymore because of how I will feel physically and also mentally after I have alcohol. I choose not to, so I don't do something because I don't want to feel that way, right? I don't do drugs because for the same reason. I don't smoke, right? And the same applies to everything in our life. Whatever we choose to do, we ultimately want to do that thing for how we will feel after, right? So then we have situations in life like we could call problems or conflicts or something that's unresolved. Like it's not necessarily a problem, but it could be some logistical thing that you're trying to solve, right, in your life, or planning something or trying to figure something out that is that feels unresolved. So what you can do is ask yourself this question, and this is what I've been asking myself every time I feel kind of this restlessness or unresolved feeling about anything, is how do I want to feel about this? And this question triggers a couple of other questions, and then this process happens that actually helps me, and I think it will help you, to figure out and resolve whatever that issue is. And it might not necessarily be resolved, but you will feel a relief from the bad feeling you're feeling, right? Because if you have a problem, you might be feeling not good, right? And the only thing that makes it a problem is how you're feeling. Because the thing on its own happening is not a problem until you feel bad, right? So your feeling bad is what needs to be resolved. So after I ask myself, how do I want to feel? I then realize that I don't even know how I feel right now. Okay, how do I feel right now? Because you can't really figure out how you want to feel about this thing if you don't know where you are now. Because it's like you don't know how to get to a certain place without knowing where you're starting, right? You have to kind of figure out where you are now, and then by doing that, you figure out where you want to be. So how do I feel right now? And so just answering that question is part of the way, a process for you to figure out how you want to feel instead. Okay, so if you're confused, it might take you a minute, like a day or some time to realize, oh, I feel confused, right? Because you may be tangled up in the circumstances and the life and the details and the facts and all the different details of life that you're trying to figure out. But what you're feeling is a certain thing, which is confused. So, okay. And then for me, as soon as I put a name to it, I then am able to see clearly, oh, if I'm confused, then I probably want to feel clear about this, right? I don't want to be confused. Confused does not feel good, right? Or the same thing with doubt. If you feel doubtful, you feel uncertain, you feel unsure, that feels very unpeaceful, very restless, right? And does not feel good. But when you're in it and you don't know you're in it, it takes some time for you to name it, right? So the whole process of you naming it, how do I feel right now, is a way for you to get to this resolution of this problem. So as soon as you realize, oh, I have some doubt, I feel not sure. Oh, so what I'm looking for is some clarity. I'm looking to feel certain. I'm looking to be clear. I'm looking to be focused, right? Do you see what I mean? Like, what's the opposite of what you're feeling? And that's what you're wanting. You're wanting the relief from the bad feeling right now. You're wanting that opposite thing. Or sometimes it's not opposite. Sometimes it's like the next logical feeling that will give you relief. I'll give you another example. If you're angry, you might want to be at peace or peaceful. And let me just say this. When you are asking yourself, how do you want to feel? If you're not honest with yourself, the answer might be, well, I want to be happy, right? I'm angry and I want to be happy. But often if you are angry and you say, oh, I just want to be happy, blah, 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 and you're not happy, then that's just a sign that you actually don't want to be happy about this thing. The truth is, if you're being honest with yourself, you might arrive at the truth that I actually want to be angry about this, which is such a freedom-giving truth to tell yourself that you actually want to be angry, because then you can be so relieved that it's totally fine for me to be angry about this. I actually want to be angry, right? Whereas sometimes you're like, oh, I'm angry, but I should be happy. So then you're compounding your own anger and you're being angry about your anger, right? So just that step of being honest with yourself and saying, how do I want to feel, will sometimes bring you back to where you are now. You're like, I don't even want to be happy about this. I want to be angry. And you feel relief. You feel peace with where you are. Okay? And then I have another one written down, worried. If you're worried, that doesn't feel good, right? After a while of being worried, you may want to move out of being worried and say, okay, I want to feel trusting. I want to feel safe. I want to feel certain that things are good, right? So I want to feel relaxed, relieved. I want to feel free. I want to feel happy, right? Unresolved, right? Something that you're like, if you're working on some, like for me, if I'm working on some planning project or figuring out something for a family, and I know it will get resolved, but I haven't resolved it yet, I feel unresolved. I feel like something's not complete. I haven't resolved it yet. So that feeling is kind of bugging me. So then I want to resolve it. I want to feel done, right? What is that feeling? Done, accomplished, satisfied, right? That's another one that you can sense. Like if you feel restless, unresolved, then what you're probably craving is some resolution. So then I ask myself, okay, so this is how it goes, right? I ask myself, how do I want to feel? Which naturally leads me to the next question. Well, how do I even feel right now? And after that, after you realize, okay, I feel unresolved. And then what naturally happens for me, and I want to offer to you, ask yourself, in the perfect scenario, what would I want to happen here? And that is a very hard question to answer because your mind will want to say, well, it's impossible. It's impossible. They won't do this. They won't change. I can't change the rules. I can't change the facts. I can't change the world, right? There's a lot of things that are out of your control. And so your mind will be very tempted to just stay there. Like, there's no perfect scenario. It's a lose-lose situation. It's a screwed up situation. I can't have what I want and work out as well. And if I have this, then I will lose that, right? There's always a conflict. There's always something that will give. So notice how your mind will just want to stay there. And this is the reason why I'm giving you this question to ask yourself, how do you want to feel? Because that question is pulling you out of your impossible situation. And your mind doesn't want to go. It wants to stay in the reasons why it won't work. It wants to justify why it won't work. It wants to explain, no, this is why it won't work. Because there's a time conflict and they need this and they don't offer that. And blah, blah, blah. So it's a mucky place that sucks you in. And I want you to just notice that that's what's happening. And so when you ask yourself these questions, there's going to be a time period in your life where you can't even answer, how do I want to feel? Because you're like, I can't feel any other way right now because everything is screwed up and I don't have a choice. And that is a process that I want you to go through to get to the answer. Going through this process for some period of time is what is so magical. Just by trying to answer that question is magical because it will do its work to get you out of the impossibility, out of the conflicted version of what you're trying to solve. It will take you out of this is the problem and it's not solvable to, this is totally solvable and I want it to look like this. Okay, so what is the perfect scenario? And that one might break your brain. And I want you to kind of go to the imaginary world where anything could be possible. And then imagine if that problem was solved and the impossible thing was resolved and whatever circumstances that were in your way, obstacles were resolved and everything just worked out great. Like there was some magic thing that came in and fixed it all. Then how would you feel? How would you feel if you just got exactly what you wanted, but you didn't really know how? And I want you to feel it. How does it feel? And that is the feeling that you're looking for, right? If you didn't have that problem and the problem was resolved, that's the feeling that you're looking for. So then I want you to do this next part. And then the next part is crucial. Without the next part, you're probably not going to go far. And the next part is just you being willing to trust that the universe will line up everything in a way that will work out so that you can get that feeling. And you have to trust that the universe will do it and you won't even know how it's going to happen. You just have to figure out, okay, this is how I want to feel about this thing, but I'm not quite sure how, like that missing piece of the puzzle. I'm just going to identify, I'm at point A, I feel unresolved, and I want to be at point B, resolved, and all these restraints addressed. and this problem solved, and I feel resolved, and I got exactly what I wanted. I didn't lose out anywhere. Now, how would I feel? I would feel resolved. And then in between, the universe will fill in the blanks. How? Okay? Because most of the time you kind of know the how to a degree, but you just don't know the one missing piece that is an obstacle in your way. So just leave that piece to the universe, okay? And this is the process I want you to go through, and and then after that you leave it, okay? You identify how you feel now, and you take as much time as needed to identify how you want to feel once that problem is resolved. That might take a half an hour, a day, or maybe a year, maybe years, because that whole process is you clarifying and making it more specific about what it is you want. Because if you don't know what you want, then that is impossible for you to get what you don't know what you want, right? So that whole process is how you can get relief from having a problem, and then adding trust that the problem will be solved is what will make that happen. So, and I believe that having that trust is expecting the solution to come up, right? So, and so it's not just like made up woo 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 in the air, trust and belief. It's actually, I think it's the attraction. Once you believe that it will be resolved, you will attract the solution, and you will scan your life and all the events that happen for looking for the solution. It might come up through other people being offered to you, or it might come up as just something happening that fits exactly to what you want. But you do have to have that very specific piece of trust and expectation, right? So, and then that takes time, right? So that's why the question, how do you want to feel, triggers a whole process of things to happen so that you can figure out how do you want to feel. And then by the time you figured out how you want to feel, you will be at peace, and what you want will happen effortlessly. That is all I have to offer for you guys today. Have a great week. Tell me how this process goes for you. I'd love to hear. I love you. Bye.